Thanks very much, Terry. And jockey Daniel Moore riding in terrific form at the moment. Unfortunately, his mount in the first was a late scratching, but punters hope he'll have a smile after race 2. He partners the best back galloper here in Twin Perfection, who's now a $2.10 favourite. Was as short as even money. Opened $2.70 yesterday and was back from $2.70 into even money. Robert the Puss now a $4.40 second to leg. Shocking Habit at $4.80. Then it's double figures or better the rest. Stand Up For Me. $16 has been solid at that quote, but Twin Perfection clearly the best back galloper heading into race 2, which is just under 10 minutes away. And remember, you can multiply the excitement with a same race multi across more races.
This mounting yard is brought to you by Fuse by King G, the next generation of workwear.
Good little maiden, this one too. Looking forward to seeing what David's made of it. Big Option is the first horse we're looking at here for Mitch Freedman.
He looks suited getting to 1,300 metres third up, and he never got a crack at him at Geelong last start over the 1,200 metres in what was quite a deep maiden won by Secret Samurai. So a little bit of a weaker maiden today, and Barrier 2 should get a nice run in transit.
From the very deep draw, Dashing Rebel first up going back.
Yeah, first up off 122 days. Some runs last preparation, getting out over to the mile, were quite good. So 1,300 metres is a good kick-off point. Had 2 recent jump outs, settled off midfield and closed off quite well recently at St Arnold. I'd suggest that he needs further, but not a bad kick-off point.
Pont Miriam hasn't done a great deal on the synthetic tracks. It's 2 runs back this term.
No, it was 4 weeks off into last start, so a minor excuse fitness-wise, but was quite weak late after leading them up on the Ballarat synthetic track. Look, might be suited getting to the turf, but on current form, hard to have.
OK, we go to Robert the Puss, who's been well back to win this race. He went out a big price in a very hot maiden there at Moonee Valley the other night.
Yeah, that was the same maiden as Twin Perfection. Twin Perfection beat Robert home this day, but Robert the Puss settled back and had the race shape against. Did actually reel off the fastest last 600 metres of the race, and he's one that looks suited at 1,300 metres and even further, and we've seen them be able to make ground down the outside already.
Stand Up For Me. He's only had the one start, a late bloomer by Rebel Raider, resuming from the break.
He had every chance on debut, but was $3.80 into a $3 favourite, so the market had some respect, and he's off 184 days, just one 850-metre Ararat jump out where he closed off OK. I'd suggest he probably needs to run.
Swiss Timer, Ruffy.
Yeah, the blinkers go on, but been well beaten in past 2 runs. Dropped sharply in trip and was well beaten last start at triple figure odds.
Well, it looks like the barrier's the problem for Twin Perfection. Came out of a very handy race there at Sale and ran well when it got back on the fence, and then out of that Moonee Valley race that we just spoke about, Dave.
Yeah, he was strong through the line. He was pulling away from Robert the Puss, although Robert the Puss had to make a long, sustained run. The issue today was the barrier 13, but what we've seen in race 1 was they ran inside standard time for a good track, but they did it down the middle of the track. So Daniel Moore should be able to get this galloper in the right spot and finish off.
You Betcha Woo had one run back from a spell against Rock DJ.
Yeah, battled over the last 200 metres. Rock DJ goes around hard in the market in the last today, and I think staying at 1,300 metres will probably be a negative. Look for him to get out over to the mile. Let's
have a look at number 9. This is Ash Mosa, who's had 2 runs back from a spell. Start number 20 today.
Third up, resumed over 1,000 metres, then 1,100 metres. I think the 1,300 metres is going to be more to her liking, given the fact that some of her better performances have been in this distance range. As you mentioned, Terry, had quite a few goes, so would need to be an improver.
Bo Deasy, it looks an improver in this race, getting a good gate. I'd expect it to be a first 4 chance.
Yeah, 100%. Tongue tie goes on as well after being beaten a long way last start at Cassidy, but settled at the rear in a race that completely didn't change shape the whole time, and she hit the line super. 2 back at Mildura over 1,200 metres on a good track. So I'm in agreement, Terry. I think she'll be an improver today.
Little Tricker. She's a mare by Redwood out of a Zabeel mare, so she's going to stay. First run for Paul Prushka after having 1 run for Alexander Ray. Yeah,
had 2 jump outs, both over 1,000 metres. Was OK in those, but off 311 days, and the fact that she debuted at near on 2,000 metres, I'd suggest this is a little sharp for her.
Shocking Habit's always shown ability. Surely it can knock a maiden off this campaign.
Yeah, he was strong first up, behind Silent Scream, who did win it at big odds at Terrain, but her best work was the last 200 metres, and that was over 1,200 metres. So drawn out today, Dean Yendel's in outstanding form. Not only does he have an outstanding strike rate at Ararat, but he's ridden 5 from his last 25, so should get to the right spot and run on.
OK, got a couple of roughies coming up now. Charlie Zoom resuming.
Yeah, 2 jump outs down the track in both. A big price is warranted and hard to have today.
Johnny McArdle formerly had Ferrens Lock, also a roughie, now with Matty Raymond.
Off 529 days and just the 1 jump out, so you'd lean to the fact that she's going to need the run.
OK, so the favourite's $2.10. Is that a good price or under the odds, do you reckon, Dave?
I think it's probably under the odds, but it's hard to tip against because he comes through the best rating race at Moonee Valley and he did close off quite well. So not a betting proposition for me, but hard to topple Twin Perfection. Shocking Habit was strong late. First up can be an improver. Bodisha gets the tongue tied on, can improve sharply, and Robert the Puss next best.
OK, Rick's going with Shocking Habit from Twin Perfection, Robert the Puss and Bodisha. Not a bad little race, this. There's always been a bit of a gap between the favourite and the second and third fave.
Yeah, punters have really focused on the top 3 in the market here, with the favourite, the best back galloper, as you can see on screen, was $2.70 initially. Reopened odds on this morning on race day at $1.95 and just pushed out ever so slightly from $1.95 to $2.10, but does remain the best back galloper. Robert the Puss has been supported on race day, $6.50 into $4.40, now second elect at that quote, and Shocking Habit, the other runner in single figure odds there at $4.50, but Twin Perfection clearly the best backed. And remember, you can multiply the excitement across more races with the same race multi.
Paul Prushka has 2 horses in the race. Both of them are first up and both of them, Tim, at a price.
TB, 3 runners, in fact. Shocking Habit. Paul, probably the pick of the trio of chances. You were just saying all the better for that run at Terang?
Yeah, for sure. Come on nice from there and haven't had to do much coming to here, so she's in really good shape. Dean on her, Dean knows her a bit, so he's keen to jump on, which is always a good thing, and hopefully things go right there.
Sees a slightly better track here today too?
Yeah, look, she seems to be fairly genuine, whether she's in it or off it. So I don't think it'll worry her.
What do you make of the chances of Stand Up For Me?
Yeah, look, nice horse, but for me, you know, you see him in the mountain yard, everything's getting to him still, so bit of racing there, and hopefully he'll get over a bit of ground later on.
Little tricker?
Yeah, she's a bit the same. I think a horse is sort of filling the bridle a bit too much for me. Couple over the short, then we'll get her over a bit of ground.
Shocking Habit, clearly the pick of the trio?
For sure.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yes, my mistake there. I forgot to mention the other one, being Shocking Habit, who's been very well backed. I see it's coming down in the betting now. It's not going to challenge the favourite, but it's certainly going to be a hard second elect.
Yeah, spot on, Terry. $4.60 into $3.90 late in betting. And as you said, now the second elect at that quote. Shocking Perfection pushed out slightly to $2.15 for that money coming there for Shocking Habit. And Robert the Puss a $4.40 chance. Twin Perfection clearly the best back galloper, but late support for the now second elect, number 14, Shocking Habit.
Luke, is a maiden the hardest race to win?
Definitely, yeah, without any doubt.
You go to the races, I'd imagine, thinking you're a bit of a chance and you've got elements that can go against you, and then you run into a Price Kenner, a Kieran Maher horse that goes to town and wins a Group 3 that's next run?
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess when you see market support for one of your horses, even if you don't particularly expect it, it normally results in a good run.
Yeah, it's funny like that now, because in the old days, a lot of it was punting, so it was stables that would back their horses. Yeah. Now it's not. Stables are racing for prize money more so than punting, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I guess the Smarties have done their sectionals and their data and all that sort of stuff. And if you see one of yours firm, you know, normally it means they run well.
Yeah. Do you really believe that?
Oh, I do, definitely.
Because surely I know trainers that go to the race and say, I don't think our horse can win, and it's off the map. Like I know a leading stable that said to me once, we only go ordinary, and it was smashed in the betting and got beat easily. Yeah, well, like money talks. It's people's money, so it's if there's money for one of my horses, I normally think that it means that it matches up well. Do you back your own horses still? Not really. Certainly when I started off, that was a big part of it. But too much pressure. But yeah, these days it's as you said, it's the prize money's good. You just want your horse out there running well. OK, they're moving in well. Here's Rick for the running of race number 2.
Interesting race, the second, isn't it? Twin Perfection favourite, Shocking Habit second pick. And they're moving in here at the 1,300 metres for the programmed 4-year-old and upwards maiden. Same distance as the first, 1,300. Big field. Ash Moser going into line. Another one being brought up riderless. Pont Mirren stands up quietly on the inside. Dashing Rebel's going to be ridden further back today from that awkward alley. Twin Perfection drawn out there with it. Here's Ferrens Lock about to come up. It's not too many more. Charlie Zoom now. Robert the Puss is still out. Be interesting to see how this big field go, trying to get to the outside or the top half of the track in the home straight at least. The first is anything to go by. Dashing Rebel, Robert the Puss and Bodicea are all out of line. And here's Bodicea coming up. Bodicea, Robert the Push and Dashing Rebel to complete the line here for race number 2 on the card. Crimo won the first, John Allen for Michael Moroney. Wonder if he had the Richard Peagham. I saw him in the ownership. I wonder if he had the Richard Peagham mark on the side of him, like the great Bondiga did, who Richard bred. Now coming up into line, Dashing Rebel. Looks like we've finally got a line here. Second race on the card, 1,300 metres. Ready, racing. Oh, Farron's Lock went up when the starter said go. Missed it by about 4. Ashmosa feeling sorry for it, goes back. Shocking Habit and Robert the Puss were the first to bounce. Boadicea looking to track them, and Twin Perfection, the favourites, coming across from his wide alley, trying to put himself into the picture. Pontmerrin driving up on the inside. Big Option there with it, and then followed by Swiss Time. Next in the race then was Stand Up For Me. Ashmosa recovering along the fence from Little Tricker. Then followed by Charlie Zoom. You Betcha Woo, Farron's Lock, and Dashing Rebel as promised went back and is towards the rear. More keeps going on. Twin Perfection gets to the top now. From the outside gate, it's not a bad effort, led by 3 parts. 2 Shocking Habit, Robert the Puss, Bodicea next on the outside, and then Big Option. Followed trying to work around the outside of them there by Swiss Time. They're followed by Pontmerrin over on the inside. From You Betcha Woo, and then came Stand Up For Me, Ashmosa. Dashing Rebel hooking to the outside as they're about the corner in here. It's Twin Perfection, the front runner from Shocking Habit on the outside, who's trying hard. Robert the Puss goes back to the inside, then followed by Bodicea. Twin Perfection. Robert the Puss has cut through on its inside. Bodicea and Shocking Habit. Twin Perfection is fending them all off though, and Twin Perfection too good. Great effort, won it by 1 1/4 Robert the Puss, and next Shocking Habit third. Fourth in might be Ashmosa, who made some good ground around Bodicea. Big Option. Pontmerrin on the inside, then followed by You Betcha Woo, followed by Stand Up For Me, Swiss Time, Charlie Zoom, Dashing Rebel, Little Tricker, and last in after that Dipsy Doodle at the start was Farron's Lock. Well, he's the best looking horse in the race, Twin Perfection. He drew the outside gate, he was favourite, but Moore took bad luck out of the equation. He used his speed and he went straight across the face of the field and just kept on going till he got to the top. He relaxed beautifully. He gave Robert the Puss the inside if it was good enough to get to the right part of what Daniel Moore thought was the right part of the track. He had Shocking Habit on the canvas. She battled on quite well, but Twin Perfection too good. He's a 4-year-old chestnut gelding by Nakoni from Miss Twin Peaks. Makes up for the stable's bad luck in the first when they lost the $1.40 favourite on Vet's advice. But Philip Stokes stable have made up for it here with Twin Perfection getting home. Daniel Moore, the winning rider for Regal Bloodstock, and a stack of co-owners. 7 with a good win. Robert the Puss, number 4. Jared Fry, Simon Zara. He's a 4-year-old by Bobby's Kitten. It's run second. 14's run third. Shocking Habit, and 10 has run fourth. So 7, 4, 14 and 10, says Judge Tim. 7, 4, 14. Shocking Habit third. Dean Yendall and Paul Prushka. It's run third, and 10 Bodicea has finished back in 4th placing. So 7, 4, 14 and 10. Let's get down to Tim. He's talking with Michael Harrison, the foreman for Stokes today.
Well, Michael, it was a pretty nice ride from Buck. It's very aggressive and it paid off. A great win.
Yeah, drew a sticky gate, but Daniel was very confident to come in today, so backed him and it's paid off.
Jockey was confident. Was the stable confident too?
Yeah, the horse has been travelling great. He's been in really good order since he's come into the stable this prep. He's come from Avika Park. They did a great job with him pre-training him and looking after him early days, and yeah, from there we've really just kicked goals.
And probably found this a lot easier than last time.
Yeah, well, the race at the Valley, it wasn't all that bad. We're pretty happy with him, the way he performed there, but we thought coming out to 1300 and just being outside horses, being able to control the pace, I thought was pretty good for him today.
Bit of a dramatic start to your day, Michael, with the odds-on pop in the first, getting scratched. Can you just tell us a little bit about what happened there?
Yeah, so we just arrived a bit later than what we expected with a bit of the traffic coming up here, but just brought her into the stalls. Unfortunately, she's just sort of got a bit frazzled and hit her head, and the vets just thought it was better to be safe than sorry and pull her off in the race. But the horse will be fine. We'll get her home and, yeah, look after her.
Some tonic getting a win in race 2 then?
Yeah, makes it a little bit, the drive home a little bit better. But look, wrap for the team at Regal Bloodstock. They've been very patient, these owners, with this horse, and hopefully it's onwards and upwards from here.
Well done.
Thank you.
So Michael Harrison representing Phillip Stokes, and touched on a great ride from Daniel Buckets Moore. Drew the wide Gary, went straight to the top, and the rest was pretty much history. And Buckets is going to just take the saddle off and come over and have a quick chat to us. Here he comes now. Buckets, that was on paper, it probably looked a bit of a tricky affair to start with, but straight to the top and it was all over.
Yeah, the lead was on offer at a cheap rate, so we bounced well, and I didn't really sort of go in with any clear-cut plan, obviously, from the Orchid Alley, but yeah, no, it worked out well.
Bit of tonic after the scratching of the fave in the first?
Yeah, really disappointing. It's really quite a shame. That race is worth sort of 60,000 for horses that are double Vobis, so really, really disappointing for the Connections. Hope she's okay.
Twin Perfections come on since the run at the Valley?
Definitely. It probably should have finished a lot closer there. We got cluttered up, and he's still a little new, and he just didn't like horses around him there, but today we were able to obviously dictate terms, and I was able to come out to the middle of the track, which seems to be the better part, and he was, it's a foreign role for him in front, but he'll take a bit out of today.
A couple of races down, is the fence a no-go zone?
It is for me. I'm going to get on the road and going home, so no, look, apparently local boys are saying that there were some trials here, and maybe towards the middle it was opened up and dried out a little bit more, so it looks that way at the moment, but it may even up as the day goes on.
Hopefully that puts to bed some of the disappointment.
Beautiful, thanks mate.
Well done.
And Coney, just a great side, produces another winner, Late Bloomer, costing $75,000 at the English sales here in Melbourne. And once it went to the front, it was always going to take a lot of beating, Dave.
Yeah, Buckets Moore rode him like the best horse, and he was coming through the highest rating race. And I do love to see when he said it wasn't plan A, but when the lead was up for grabs cheaply, he wasn't going to knock it back. And even after what we saw in race 1, where they wanted to angle towards the outside, he was able to lead and dictate. They ran 0.2 seconds slower than race 1, and both times today really indicated it's bang between a good 4 and a soft 5, but the best horse went to the front. You can see that Daniel Moore wants to angle off the fence. Robert the Puss jumped quite well for Jared Fry, was able to settle on the leader's back and come up, make his run much closer towards the fence, but Daniel Moore led, angled off, and the first 4 in run were the first 4 across the line, so it was a race that didn't change much in terms of complexion during the race, and Daniel Moore was able to dictate from the front. The rest was history, and I'm sure the Stokes stable are going to be wrapped after what happened in race 1. They travel a horse up, but at least they go home with some prize money today.
Absolutely, they'd be gutted by that, because that horse probably wins the first pretty easily from what we've seen of that race, with a bit more turn of foot than the winner, and the prize money was huge for that event. Anyway, we're going to go to a break. We've got Tom Dabernig. He's got the favourite Short Odds saddling up in the next race on the program. Luke Oliver back in the studio with us in a moment.